Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. The highest level of the game. Yeah. Oh, I know I'm going to piss some people off with this. But I'm just telling you the truth. Now, a little bit of it is related to some stuff I've been talking the past couple of days. But, about personality, what you're born with, your primal thing, all of that stuff. A little bit of it. But then you still got other aspects to it. And it's something that any man could truly develop if he does the work. Now, people who've read my book, Nice Guys and Players, know I call the man who's at the highest level of the game allegorically Mr. Goodbar. And the reason it's an allegory because women want to indulge that man sexually as much as possible. And he's like rich chocolate. They can't get enough. He's like an ice cream sundae. They just got to have it. They might know it's bad for them, but they just got to have it. Now, one of the things with the Goodbar, and I talk about this in an on-demand video, the Goodbar Mystique, and I'll put a link in the description box for it. It's on my Vimeo, the Goodbar Mystique. His thing is that he don't really chase women. The women are chasing him. Now, some guys have heard that and felt like, oh, okay, I'm just going to let the women approach me. And, I ain't going to make any moves, all of that, And here's the problem with that. You just can't go out there and say, I'm not going to chase. See, understand, if you playing that role, try to play that role, well, I ain't pressed about a woman or something. First of all, you might be invisible to her. She might not see you anyway. You get a lot of guys talking about they ain't going to deal with women and all of this, but the women ain't paying attention to them anyway. Understand, in order to reach that highest level of game, you have to have a strong sex appeal. Let me say that again. You have to have a strong sex appeal. And your sex appeal is going to be a combination of three things, what I always say. One, the physicality. That's the body game. You got to be built a certain way, and at the very least. And even that's a part of even facially. Now, you don't have to look like maybe a fashion model, but you do have to have something that a woman finds sexually appealing. On your face, your body, everything. And then you gotta be able to click with them, so you gotta have a certain amount of charisma, right? Because sex appeal ain't just a physical thing. It's definitely not the money thing, but it's the physical thing, the body primarily, and the physical appearance primarily, coupled with two intangibles. Which is charisma, and then one of which is just being masculine, like naturally masculine. Right? And then, there's some other factors in there depending on the woman, whether or not she's in your tribe or not. So that's an important thing, And then, how your personality clicks with hers, So you got all of these factors. Now, understand something. When a man is at that highest level, he really doesn't approach women. He don't need to. He does not need to. This is the type of guy, he can be walking down the street with a t-shirt on, some sweats, some run over shoes, and women gonna still throw it at him. Like another term women might use for that type is sexy fine. So they either gonna do two things. Either A, they're gonna approach him directly and just tell him straight up they wanna holler. That's rare though. B, they'll approach him directly and maybe engage in some indirect conversation. They talk about direct and indirect approach, with men approaching women. And, you got advocates and detractors of both styles. But women do the same thing, but they do it mostly indirect. They'll put, you might be in a grocery store or something, and a woman will ask about something random that she might not really be interested in, but you right there, you looking at it, or she'll say something, Like I was in a grocery store the other day, And this woman was asking me about, she was like looking me in the eye. Her body language was turned towards me. And people who follow my private stuff know what I'm like getting at. And she was asking me about some product, which honestly I hadn't heard of before. And I'm just looking at her, right? Checked out a bit. My kids were there. Her daughter was there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. And, probably be smarter to ask, somebody who actually works here. And I ain't say it sarcastically, though. I was nice about it. I said, yeah, they probably know. I'm not as sure. And then she just kept talking. So, first of all, I'm like, oh, okay, she's interested. But I wasn't feeling her like that. So I was like, she was all right, but, I wasn't feeling her. Plus, I have, let's just say someone else is on the radar to keep my attention focused. I'll leave it at that. So anyway, but, I could see what was up with that. Because you're going to ask someone who don't look like they work in a place, like some question about something, when it would have been a lot easier just to find one of the workers who would have taken them right to it. So, so I was like, okay. But that's part of what happened, so they'll do an indirect thing. Or what a lot of women will do, they'll put themselves in a proximity to be approached by that guy. And usually if it's a situation where they may see the guy maybe walking down the street or something at a certain time every day. Like I still remember this woman told me she would see this guy walking past her apartment at a certain time every day. So she just clocked him for a month. She clocked him for a month and then put herself in his path, and they end up going out for a couple years. He might think he approached her, but boom, she had already checked him out and weighed everything. That's the highest level. See, understand something. You leave women to their own devices, they will throw it at a man. They will throw it at a man, a select man, especially a Mr. Goodbar type. And it's interesting. Some men don't like that, but see, that gives the man control over the whole process, because that woman got to pay his price to get with him. His price. He don't have to pay her price. She got to look a certain way. Like the incident I said, that woman didn't have the price I was interested in. She didn't have the price I was interested in, and someone else has my attention. So it's just like, okay, I don't know. She ain't have it. But in those situations, the man he can deal with it on his terms. In fact, I actually did a seminar. With men and women there, and we had men playing that role, and the women were going crazy because the guys played it perfectly. This woman was trying to get this man's attention. He was just totally ignoring it, and she was getting hot. She was about to scream at him, and I was like, whoa, this is just, we've just play acting right here. This is just, this ain't the real thing. And the women were getting hot. They were getting hot. Because it turns everything around. Now, a lot of guys ain't going, you're talking maybe 10% of the population. And then you get the next level, maybe they have the right tools, everything, the right bait. And they get to see it a little bit, but then they still got to, be a little aggressive. But just focusing on that thing, that's the highest level. And, some guys will hear that because they not there and they think, oh, that woman can. No, the man controlling it. He controls because he's deciding whether or not he want to deal with her, how he want to deal with her, when he want to deal with her. Because she's handing it to him. She is handing it to him. So, and that's, it's something a man can develop. I mean, that's my main thing. A man not only developing that level, but then going beyond. Because imagine, and I've talked about this in Nice Guys and Players. One of the things, and people who read it, they can say it. When I talk about the Mr. Goodbar types, how they could develop into an even higher level, the real man, I say practice sexual discipline. And see, a man becomes powerful when women are handing him the sex so he don't have to chase it. He can deal with them on his own terms, only deal with the quality women. Right? He's only dealing with the quality, and then he can also focus on other aspects of life. Like I said, in Nice Guys and Players, I say it. I tell the guys who can get sex easily, sexual discipline. Practice it. Focus on it. Then you could, like, you really got some power. Not only you just dealing with like the quality women, and not only just dealing with them on your own terms, but then you can take that energy, engage in sex transmutation, and build some other stuff. Now, anybody who's really followed me, if y'all really listen to it, no matter what I do in a podcast, a video, or something, even when it seems like I'm just totally clowning, everything is about that holistic thing. So we're gonna be constantly getting more into that. You know, for the people who can't see it as obvious, but it's all there. Everything makes sense. They just seeing a part of it, but you know, you got to look at everything and start putting pieces together. And you're like, oh shit, that's what he's trying to show us. So anyway, though, that's the highest level of the game. You want to work to that point where look, let me put it like this. You're like the sun. Or if you're not there and you're not drawing women or pulling, as old school players would say, you're not pulling women towards you. You need to work to that point. Because the sun is powerful. The sun brings light. You know? You want women coming to you for your light. You know? So we'll get deeper into it at some other point. So anyway, y'all, that's all I got for now. I'll talk to y'all. Peace.